Yeah, Pat, and as you can see very clearly out here, it is a big party atmosphere here in South Philadelphia outside of Citizens Bank Park.
Things up midway through the fourth. Panthers now down 27-19 when Eli Holstein hits Desmond Reed over the middle. He splits the defense, and he is out of here. 56 yards to the house. That cuts the score to 27-25. However, Pitt missed the two-point conversion.
The Chiefs are now 12-1 and hold the #1 seed in the AFC.
There's no way they can keep getting away with this in college football. Penn State battled #1 Oregon for the Big Ten championship on Saturday in Indianapolis. And while Penn State put up an incredible fight, they ultimately came up short in a 45-37 loss to the undefeated Ducks. The Nittany Lions putting up more than 500 total yards of offense. Game 2 of the World Series was last night in L.A. Freddie Freeman's walk-off grand slam made history in Game 1, and the Dodger bats got going early last night. Bottom of the second, L.A.'s Tommy Edman takes Carlos Rodon deep to left field. That solo home run put the Dodgers up 1-0, and Chavez Ravine is going crazy. And that even includes Freeman and Clayton Kershaw in the Dodgers dugout. And just like Thursday night, it was the Bears who won it in the extra period. Pierrick Dubé beats Greaves with this wrist shot at the 11-minute mark of overtime, and the Bears take Game 2 by the score of 3-2. They lead the best-of-7 series 2-0, and this will mark the return of former Giant and Penn State running back Saquan Barkley to MetLife Stadium. Now, after spending the first 6 years of his career with Big Blue, the Giants let him walk in the offseason, and he quickly signed a 3-year deal with the Birds. And the former Nittany Lion has looked every bit like the star they thought they were getting. Now, Saquon says he's looking forward to returning to North Jersey, but adds this is bigger than just his return.
The game is this virus.
The annual Big 33 Football Classic, a.k.a. the Super Bowl of high school football, is one of the nation's oldest high school all-star games, first being played in 1957. For the 11th straight year, this year's matchup pits the best players from Pennsylvania against the best from Maryland.
Aaron Etterline.
And the players were honored in a celebration that was organized by State Senator Mike Regan, whose district is also home to the Big 33's offices. Now, Regan was one of a number of state legislators in attendance, and it also featured cheerleaders and members of the Big 33 Buddy Program. That's a group of special needs kids who are paired with players and cheerleaders.
It's a great feeling. I mean, it really is to see it all come together, with the players and the cheerleaders and the buddies. The buddies thing, I think, at the end was just so special.
In the past, this game has featured football icons such as Joe Namath, Tony Dorsett, Joe Montana, Dan Marino, Ricky Waters, Marvin Harrison, and Ben Roethlisberger. And this year's game is also going to be the final high school game for Steel High's star quarterback, Alex Irby. After leading the Rollers to 3 state championships and setting the state's career passing record, he's headed to the Naval Academy this fall. This game will be special for him because his father, Andrew, will be one of the coaches.
We always dreamed about stuff like this. Playing in the Big 33, obviously I wanted my brother to play with, so it can be one last game for all of us. But, just being there and have my dad coach for me one last time before I go to Annapolis, I just want to thank the man above for just letting us all, just leading us to the right path.
Now, tickets go on sale for the Big 33 game today. It's going to be played at Cumberland Valley High School on Sunday, May 26th. And one tidbit about the Big 33 game, not a single Super Bowl has been played without at least one alumni of a Big 33 game.
To me, my journey has always felt like, natural. It's just what I know I've always wanted to do, but a lot of times it catches other people off guard.
When Casey Kaufhold is here in Lancaster,
I see myself competing for a long time.
This is where you can often find her.
If it touches the line, it's the higher score.
Shooting arrows and hitting targets with incredible precision. But what would you expect from the best archer in the world? Even if she sees it, it's just another day in the office.
It's like any other job to me. Of course, it's different traveling so much, and it's not a quote-unquote regular job, but I do really enjoy it.
At just 20 years old, Casey has quickly risen to become the world's #1 ranked women's archer. And she's looking to become the first woman to win a medal in archery since Luann Ryan won the gold in Montreal in 1976. She'll head back to Paris, where she won gold in the World Cup last year.
I'm expecting to kind of just use my experience over the past year to do my best. And I think having the World Cup win last year in Paris was a huge, thing for me because that's going to be the same stage we shoot on at the games.
It wasn't long before Casey became one of the best in the world. And while she's very friendly and greets everyone with a smile, she's all business between the lines. And it's a level of success that's owed to her preparation.
A normal training day, so to say, is like 250 arrows.
This will be Casey's second trip to the Olympics. Her first was in Tokyo 3 years ago when she was just 17 years old. But thanks to the COVID pandemic, it was a markedly different experience from what she's headed to in Paris.
Some of my teammates had been to previous Olympics like Rio and London, and they would always say like, oh, it's so cool, you get to go watch other sports, you get like the loud people in the crowd, you know, cheering for you, and we didn't have any of that.
Casey finished 17th in Tokyo, and she's expecting a much different outcome in Paris. And as she looks to make history, Casey will rep Team USA and have the entire Susquehanna Valley behind her.
Yeah, it's awesome to represent, you know, Lancaster County. It's kind of it feels small to me compared to all the big cities I've been to. So it's super cool to have like such a tight-knit small community. Like I love when people come up to me in the shop and say like, oh, I read your article in the paper, or I saw you on the news. Like it's awesome to have people like, you know, appreciate and follow along.
Haley Dougherty can talk about it now with an almost dry sense of teenage humor.
And I played as a goalie sophomore year, and then I stopped this year because I have a delayed reaction from when I have my seizures. So being a goalie plus a minimal delayed reaction.
The 16-year-old Elizabethtown High School junior and former field hockey goaltender is now in remission, nearly 2 years after battling leukemia, a diagnosis that she and her mother, Heather, remember vividly.
February 10th, 2020, my family was called to go to the ER. That morning I went and got blood work. My mom was on pool deck when she got the call.
I was coaching swimming when I got the call from the doctor saying, you need to pick her up, bring her to the ER, she will be admitted. You know, I wish we could bring you into the office, but she has cancer, you need to take her now.
Prior to her diagnosis, Haley was your typical active teenager. She was an avid swimmer, field hockey player, and an honor student. But Heather, who's also a swim coach, could sense something was off.
She was slowing down. Like, she used to be one of the leads in her lane for swimming, and she started going further and further back. And she was just getting tired all the time, and her times were getting really slow. So we saw something, and we knew something wasn't quite right. We just didn't know what.
Haley experienced all the signs of leukemia and quickly started chemotherapy. Along with the usual side effects that chemo brings, Haley also began to suffer those aforementioned seizures following her early treatments. In the middle of Haley's cancer battle, which also came as the pandemic started taking hold, Heather got an unexpected email from Make-A-Wish.
When my mom first got the email, because that's how they contact you, is through an email, she went to my oncologist and said, is this a scam?
We took it to the doctor. We're like, do you know anything about this? Because, well, she had just had her seizure and she had leukemia. We didn't think she was that sick that she would be granted a wish.
The email was indeed legit, and the process of getting Haley her wish got rolling. However, thanks to the pandemic and its travel restrictions, the process took a lot longer, stalling out for more than a year before she and her family finally got their wish in April of 2022. It was a trip to Hawaii.
I got to go ziplining over where Jurassic Park was filmed, and that was the first time I've ever gone ziplining, so that was so much fun.
Following that trip, the Doughertys were contacted again by Make-A-Wish. This time it was for a chance to be a part of the annual Mother's Day convoy in Lancaster.
When her wish was granted, and then that year for Mother's Day, they asked us to be a convoy coach. So she came and she was a convoy coach, which means she started off the convoy.
I liked that no matter what, you would have somebody fun to talk to. I had an amazing truck driver. His name was Mike. I actually rode with him again last year, and I'm going to ride with him this year.
Haley will be front and center at this year's 35th annual Mother's Day Convoy, which raises money to support the wishes the organization grants. And it's also a testament to Haley's perseverance. Haley finished chemo on June 18th, 2022. She's back in school, back in the pool, has a 4.0, and wants to become a psychologist. She also just went to her junior prom. I asked her what message she has for kids who are battling a life-threatening disease like cancer. Her response was typical of her sense of humor as well as her spirit.
It's gonna suck some days, but one more day is always gonna be better. It's always better to be here for another day than not get to see it, because something might happen that is exciting, even if it's just to watch one more episode of that show you really like. Like, the next day can always hold something better.
In Mannheim, I'm J. Scott Smith, WGAL News 8.